Welcome. I'm Alice Alicia, and I welcome you to another segment, Past Life Readings. One of the things that always comes up for me, my clients and the people that listen to what I have to say, basically will ask me, how did this start for you? How did you feel that you became able to do this? And this was a natural outpost and outgrowth of the fact that I could hear voices from the time I was a very little girl, uh, from the time I was 4 years old. I tuned into my people that were talking to me. I at that time, of course, didn't know anything about guides. I didn't know anything um, about the fact that beings could communicate with us. Was I was in a tradition that always said um, my religious tradition was belief in angels, belief in Jesus, belief in God, belief in the Blessed Mother, the Holy Family, the Holy Spirit, and but never a way to. There was none of the fact that these beings could meet with us directly, and we could communicate with them. So, um, as I listened to the information that was given me, I just, over the years, just presumed I was smart because most of the information that came forward for me always had to do with my homework faster, better, just to clearer how to accomplish what I needed to accomplish. And so I never really considered well, until the 90s. And then in the 90s, I realized that I could have a conversation. And as I had a conversation with my guides, uh, and I recognized that something special. I are some of my readings with one of my sisters, my middle sister, Christina, and she had mystical experiences of her own. So she would always be there, willing to listen to me, and I was always willing to share with her. My daughter keyed in on this same process, and she would go then to high school and say, "My mom's a psychic. My mom's a psychic." And her friends would say, "Oh, I want to talk to a psychic." And then I recognized that I had the ability to give past life readings. And what I now recognize is that from the beginning, all the information that I've ever received has been channeled. It is information that has been given to me. It was never a mystery. And I just wanted to say that I'm going to be giving a past life reading to Alexandra, and I welcome Alexandra to this Facebook Live presentation. And uh, and I'm very grateful that here. I think she waited a month for this, so I'm also grateful for her patience. But anyway, Alexandria, the if you'd be kind enough, give me the name of the person that like information um, for. In other words, somebody that you in relationship with, or somebody you may have a contentious relationship. Um, and then I'll focus in on both of your names, first last name for both to uh, to do this. So For Alexandra,
Mhm.
the
Yes, we are waiting for Alexandra to give the name of the person.
okay,
Mhm.
all right. And waiting for that, I just wanted to continue that I recognized very quickly that my special gift was being able to retrieve past lives for the students that my daughter brought to my home. And in doing so, I also had uh, also stayed in on how that past life was influencing this lifetime. So that became a focus of how I started my readings. All right. So Alexandra's last name. Oh, okay, great. Is Sanchez. So what I'm going to ask now is who was Alexandra Sanchez to Carlos Silva in a past life? Alexandra, what came up immediately, I am going to presume that that life is influencing this lifetime. That's the way my readings generally go. But I saw Carlos as your teacher, and what he was teaching you was a type of Spanish dance, the flamenco. And he he was younger than you were, and he had a very you seemed to have a contentious relationship with him. There were times where he drove you unmercifully, and because he knew that you were such a fabulous dancer, but you had to be pushed, pushed, pushed. So effectively, that was the situation that I saw you in. I also saw him as younger than you, that you were maybe 10 or 15 years older, but he had the skill level that you were after. So I don't think you came to him at very early in life. I think you came to him later, but you had gone through a number of teachers prior to coming to him. And he became a very important person in your life, but also a contentious person in your life because of the fact that there were times where you would um, quarrel and to the point of being very, very angry with each other. And there were times where you would stomp off and not want to come back to him, and but yet you'd always come back. So does that have any bearing on your current lifetime in any way, shape, or form? And she will type her answer.
Mhm. She will take her answer. We're waiting. Okay?
Yeah. While we're waiting for her answer,
Mhm.
I'll just continue with my story. Um, that what I recognize now is that I always received information from my guides. And interestingly enough, they get the information from. They go into the Akashic records of the person of whatever question that you have. I get it downloaded into me like a knowing. And that's why I have complete confidence in what I bring forward these readings, because I feel that I can, because obviously the information doesn't come from me, it comes through me. And it can come from an angelic being, it can come from any one of the ascended masters that I work with. It can, but it comes from the highest beings of light. It can come from my higher self, but reaching into the Akashic records is a very uh, progressive way of getting it because it's accurate. So anyway,
Alexandra said that Carlos is a kind of teacher in this life. It's not his teacher in this life, but it's a kind of
he is a kind
he's
of teacher.
teaching something to her. Yes.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
So she did say, Alexandra did say that he is a teacher to her in this lifetime. She didn't specify what kind of teacher, but that he is. Does she have anybody else that she wants to have a reading with?
In the meanwhile, we have two more people
Okay.
that maybe in the other segment we
Okay.
can do the readings.
Well, we can do it now.
Oh, okay. Ashley Fayette.
Faith.
Faith.
Excellent.
And Alexandra say um, that Carlos, he always had the patience and way to stay with the stuff. Oh, she wants to read Lixa Iglesias.
Okay.
Our friend
Lixa Iglesias.
Uh-huh.
All right. So Alexandra Sanchez. Also, I'm going to ask, who was Alexandra Sanchez in relation to her friend Lixa Iglesias? Iglesias. Iglesias. All right. Basically, what I've seen is a lifetime, and I'm going to say England, probably in the 18th century. And I saw them both as little girls playing. Both come from very well to do families. They're the dearest of friends, and they have a relationship that stays with them through the end of their life. They both, one of them marries well, one of them does not. One of them has uh, a husband that is particularly cruel to her, and and in her case, she effectively has the other friend as she leans on the other friend as a confidant. And she manages to get through that lifetime in a way that she can unload her sorrows and she can unload um, her pain, and it makes it more tolerable for her. She never seeks to get out of the marriage because she is wealthy. And she feels that this is just the price that you pay. The husband eventually just kind of drifts away, pays less and less attention to her, and gives her more freedom in that sense because of the fact that he doesn't really, it's almost like he considers her a non-entity in his life. But because of her background and her faithfulness of her family as well as her dear friend, she leaves this lifetime not necessarily fulfilled, but also not necessarily filled with regret either. So she is able to feel, I don't really feel she thinks she's accomplished much in this lifetime, but she certainly learned the spiritual gift of tolerance. So I think that was a very important lifetime for her because she learned to be very, very tolerant, and which was a lesson that she had been putting off in prior lifetimes. So really, Alexandra, it wasn't a wasted life in any way, shape, or form. And we thank you for your participation. And we're going to go on to another reading right now. And the gal is Ashley Faye. And we need the person that, Ashley, if you'd be kind enough, write the name of the person that you want to know something about.
And the other one that was a reading is,
Okay, well, we'll go to that next. But Ashley, right. If Ashley, if you could just give us Karina, if you could give Karina, my assistant, the name of the person that you want a reading with, unless you just want past lives in general. That's your choice too.
let's see, I'm waiting for the answer
Okay.
from Ashley.
And while we're waiting, I would just like to introduce you, if you don't know about it, to my book called Own Your Power. Comes in both paperback and in hardcover. And it's Own Your Power Day by Day, 365 meditations for clearing emotional, mental, and spiritual blockages to becoming your higher self. It was an endeavor that took me 16 years to complete, and it rested for 20 years. So it took 20 years to get it off the shelf, off my shelf, and into the public. And it's gotten great reviews. If you go on Amazon, you get to read 45 pages for free, and you also will can read the reviews that have come in. So I would love you to check it out, and certainly am so grateful for you participating in this Facebook Live. And do you have the name?
No, we don't have yet the name.
Okay.
But Dahlia Rose
Okay.
give the name. So
Okay.
are we going to the other segment?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, all right. So we're at 18 minutes. So what we're going to do is we're going to, we should wait for Ashley's name though. No?
In the Ashley, you can go to the other segment that we are going to start in a few minutes, and you can give us the name. I will be checking in anyway here at the computer. Okay, so we can end this one.
All right. So we're effectively going to end this segment and start again in the next one.
In a few minutes.
In a few minutes. Leave the site. Sending.